Inside city walls, we don't usually think about how nature works. Let's go on a journey around the incredible places of Russia. In just one day, we'll see them closer than ever before. And we'll remind ourselves how unique, diverse and organic life here is, and where people protect nature. Russia's wilderness. A rocky coast, shrouded in fog and tempered by wind. Here in the waters of Europe's largest lake, the Karelian tiger is reflected. Vikings called it Ladoga. Here lies the great lake of the north, Ladoga. The stones that rise from the smooth surface are far from ordinary. Hundreds of islands covered with plants form the only freshwater fjords in the Baltic. Tens of thousands of years ago, a huge glacier passed through Karelia, ruthlessly cutting the banks and forming fresh gulfs. It's clear to see what this glacier did. Hundreds of rocky islands covered with traces of time and the force of nature. The famous Skerry of Lake Ladoga. All through history, Skerry has seen a lot. Around 2 billion years ago, there were mountains and volcanoes here, in the lands of Fennoscandia. The foundation of these mountains is the Skerry. Formed of granite, the oldest rock on the planet and one of the hardest and most solid rocks of all. The rocks appear quite green. But how did spruce trees manage to take root here? You'll see this for yourself. Just look down. The green dwarfs gained a foothold here thanks to a special northern soil. Lichen is an example of one of the most insular relationships found in nature. Fungus and algae coexist in one body. Lichen was the first to inhabit these rocks, followed by moss and then other higher plants. Take pines, for example, one of the few survivors who managed to take root on these inhospitable reliefs. The wind carries their flying seeds right into the cracks of the rocks. They need very little moisture to grow and drive their roots into the hollows filled with lichen. Like any living organism, plants seek to capture territory. This landscape doesn't scream of triumph, but nothing in nature is empty. There are thousands of cracks beneath your feet. Needles, moss, and lichen decompose in there, creating soil. Very few animals live on rocks surrounded by water. There's hardly anything to find but fish. Moving now towards the open water, there's nothing in the distance but a horizon. From here, the Skerry looks like sheep's foreheads. This is where the rarest of animals like to spend their time. The Ladoga ringed seal is a very cautious animal and afraid of people. So let's not get too close. We can watch from here. Ladoga seals usually stay in small groups and like to bask on flat rocks. 100 years ago, there were around 20,000 seals in Lake Ladoga. Today, fewer than 3,000 are left. The Ladoga ringed seal is on the Red Book. Look around. You're seeing the biggest lake in Europe. Its waters are still today. A whole world lives within its waters and by its own rules. A mighty glacier created this lake. Evolution turned it into one of the most beautiful phenomena of Russia's northwest. There's almost no wind in this bay. Water lilies, reeds, horsetails and other aquatic plants grow on this plain surface. The tangle of underwater vegetation is ideal for breeding. Thousands of scurrying fish nimbly glide between meter-long stalks of water lilies. Russia's north is truly a land of lakes. We're flying over Lake Ristoyarvi. Its birth was accompanied by natural disasters. Tectonic faults, glaciers and earthquakes are only a few examples. But now its shores are still and bear a mighty forest by themselves. A picturesque forest hugs the shores of the lake. The thickest of all are here in southern Karelia. And pines, the mighty giants, grow to enormous sizes, silently hovering over the shores. The serene still waters of Ladoga, the sloping foreheads of rocky shores, wide open spaces, all keep an incredible geological history that has influenced an entire continent. They bear witness to the union of the destructive and creative forces of nature. Traveling around Russia's reserves, you can't help but feel astonishment at the absolute greatness and power of wild nature. Scientists claim that many ecosystems will soon become relics of the past. Deserts and seas, forests and mountains, and all of their inhabitants are endangered by human activity. There are primordial islets, with mind-blowing creatures living all over Russia. And we must keep their miraculous world intact. Developing a system of reserves is one of the main priorities for the Russian Federation's Ministry of Natural Resources and Ecology. The Roszapoved Center's mission is to promote recreation in the wild, support scientific research and biodiversity in wild nature. 9 specially protected natural areas have opened in Russia in the year of ecology. 24 more areas are planned to open by 2024. Russia's nature is its national heritage. Let's protect it together.